Oh, hello. I didn't see you there. You may be wondering why the Spider-Man jacket. It's because I don't own a Deadpool one. Now, I know the internet has by and large taken care of this for me, but still, out of common courtesy, this is your spoiler warning for Deadpool and Wolverine. And I mean it. There's some really cool stuff in there. If you've somehow managed to dodge the spoilers until now, I would hate for my video to be the one that ruined something cool for you. All right, we clear? You're good? Only people who have seen the movie are here? Good, because Henry Cavill is in this movie. Can you believe that? Like, am I the only one who's, like, still baffled by Henry Cavill being in this?
Gaming cookie guy entertainment.
You know, typically when I do one of these rewrite type of videos, it's somewhat indicative that I didn't really like the movie as originally written. But in Deadpool and Wolverine's case, I actually had a great time watching this. It was a packed theater. It was opening night. I think this is the funniest Deadpool movie that's come out. At the very least, it's like the funniest movie I have seen all year. But still, despite the extremely fun ride I had at the movie theater watching this, there was still that little moment of disappointment at the end. The idea that behind all of the jokes and comedy, there was something that was just not quite right. And so this video, more than anything, is just me trying to work that out. Figure out what part of my brain thought something was missing. And so with that in mind, my main goal going into this rewrite was going to be tackling Deadpool's character and his story arc. In the original movie, we are presented with a Deadpool who wants nothing more than to be an Avenger because he thinks that is what is going to make him matter. And it seems like that's what he thinks is going to win back Vanessa and turn his life around. And I really did not like this. I think it just undoes everything Deadpool has been doing for the last 2 movies, and it makes the center of this movie just feel a little bit hollow to me. Now, at the same time, like he wants to be an Avenger, he wants to matter, but we're also told over and over again that this Deadpool is not a world saver, and that I do think we can work with. I think there is something there, because by the end of this movie, we're kind of left in the same place where we started. And that's really not what I expected. That's not to say you can't do a movie like that, but the whole trajectory of this movie was join the Avengers, find a way to matter. And yet we're left with the status quo. So instead of that being a surprise, I want to make that a feature of the character. And I think all I have to do to accomplish that is just make a couple of bookend changes. And so getting into my version of Deadpool and Wolverine, I want to start off with making Deadpool happy, like truly content happy. Wade, Vanessa, and their baby Cher, I don't care, boy, girl, their baby's named Cher. They are living a normal life. Vanessa just got a promotion at work. Wade works at the dealership with Peter. Now, Peter's nostalgic for the superhero days and keeps the Deadpool suit in his locker, but Wade is not interested in any of that anymore. He has lost Vanessa in consecutive movies, and he has no interest in risking that again. And though, yes, his main motive here is going to be love for his family, love for his life, but we also get some selfishness here. It is a bit of a character flaw, and I want to highlight that in the birthday party scene by having Colossus come up to him and say, like, hey, Wade, we could really use you out there. And it also kind of parallels the story we're going to tell with Wolverine and shirking your responsibilities. And so we have our character set up. We have what is at stake for them. This Deadpool has no interest in joining the Avengers or mattering. All he wants to do is protect those people closest to him, and he's willing to do whatever it takes to accomplish that, including desecrating the grave of Logan. And so, yeah, after establishing who this character is and what he wants, I like the movie as written. I think the vast majority of this movie is great. I think the meat is there. And I am for sure talking about the Henry Cavill cameo because, like, I'm not going to cut perfection. And so now that we've gone through the whole journey of the movie, my big change here at the end is going to come with the final villain and this final sacrifice. So in the original movie, Cassandra Nova, after being betrayed by Paradox, she comes through the void. She has this revenge plot. She comes through with the full force of the Deadpool core behind her, and her plan is to destroy this timeline. which just so happens to be the plan of Paradox. It's been the plan this whole time. Nothing changed. So why is she the final boss? Like, we just left this character in a pretty good place in the void. I thought we were done with her. I was satisfied with what we got in this movie, and yet she was shoehorned in to be this big bad at the end. I don't think that's necessary. I think we can just keep Matthew Macfadyen's Paradox as the final villain. And yes, we could still have the Deadpool Corps. Like, it makes just as much sense for Paradox to call them in as it did for Cassandra. Plus, I don't know about you, but I love the idea of corporate greed and corporate overreach being the main final villain of the entire Deadpool trilogy. It's a real shame, though, because I cannot think of any like meta-textual jokes to make with that. Like, if the Disney Corporation, who recently, of course, acquired Deadpool, and Fox Corporation, if they could come up with a way to make like corporate greed and ambition, like if they could figure out a way to make that the villain and that the joke, like I think that would be great. I don't think they could do it. I don't see a way in there, but they're smarter than I am. They'll figure it out. So anyway, Deadpool and the newly cowled Wolverine fight their way through the Deadpools, only to have their collective love for Peter be what saves the day. The duo make it to the Time Ripper, but it is too late. Paradox has already started the startup sequence, and it cannot be stopped. He begins this speech about the futility of their actions, how Deadpool, he's not a hero. He was never going to save the world. And of course, partway through the speech, he just gets punched in his already broken nose by Deadpool. And then our true hero emerges and rises up. That one guy at the TVA who was ogling Deadpool tells Deadpool that there is a way they can stop the Time Ripper. He has to form a circuit between the matter and antimatter engine, and the whole thing will melt down. The catch here, the catch in my version, is this matter-antimatter engine doesn't just kill whoever interacts with it and tries to form the circuit. It can theoretically erase whoever touches it from the entire multiverse. And so the stakes are set for this final sacrifice. And even though this Deadpool has been all about selfishness, saving his world above all else, in this moment, he realizes that a multiverse without Deadpool is probably okay, whereas a multiverse without the Wolverine might not survive. So Deadpool chooses to make that sacrifice, and as he is trying to reach and hold these matter-antimatter engines, we see him start to crack, and we see all the Deadpools start to crack, and we think maybe there's a chance they kill off all of Deadpool here so they don't have to write him into anything else. But just when it all seems lost, this Wolverine, who Deadpool is only selfishly manipulated, fought, lied to, wants to mold him into this anchor being. This Wolverine, who has been through so much and lost a world already, decides if there is something he can do to save a world, he is not going to stand by again. So Wolverine steps in, joins Deadpool in combining the matter-antimatter circuits, and has his shirt ripped off and saves the day. And as the smoke clears, Hunter B-15 and the rest of the TVA management comes in, arrests Paradox, and tells Deadpool that she has checked the readings, and somehow, through whatever actions he has just taken, he, Wade Wilson, is the new anchor being for this timeline, which I think kind of completes his arc, because this was someone who at the beginning of the movie didn't even want to be Deadpool, and now it turns out that Deadpool is the anchor for this entire timeline, and it's kind of convenient to have an anchor being who is also immortal. Plus, he gives Feige an excuse not to bring him over to the main continuity. You're welcome, Kevin. That one's for you. And I'll be honest, I don't know what to do with Logan here, and it kind of seems like the original writers didn't know what to do with him either, because he's kind of just hanging out at the end. Like, he doesn't die in the sacrifice. He doesn't walk off camera in any kind of dramatic fashion. He's kind of just there. And I don't think they'd ever do this, but this is my version. I can write whatever I want because I think it's funny, and I think this is very Deadpool. But the idea that I landed on for Wolverine is, as they're doing the Time Ripper meltdown, we get a bit of like a Doctor Who regeneration reference. And we just recast him right then and there. And so, like, instead of Hugh Jackman walking out to the Goo Goo Dolls, it's suddenly like Daniel Radcliffe or maybe even Henry Cavill. But that's it. All told, some pretty minor changes to what was overall a fun movie, a great movie. It was nice to see this return from Marvel and this send off to the Fox universe, which this movie ended up being. I thought that was really nice. But what do you think? Did you like any of my changes? Do you have some of your own? Are there any different cameos you wanted to see? Or did you walk out of the theater in outrage after Deadpool proclaimed himself to be Marvel Jesus? Let me know in the comments. Please subscribe so that I matter. I'll see you in the next one.